Although I always strive to be a mindful shopper by buying less and making the most of what I already have, I still enjoy shopping. And I feel no shame in that because I've done a lot of work over the past few years to recognize if pieces actually are worth coming into my life or if it's something that I need to leave behind. So today I'll be sharing with you some of the items I almost bought in recent months, why I wanted them, and ultimately why I decided to pass. And hopefully by hearing my own thought process about these items, it will help you make better decisions with your own shopping habits as well. If you're interested in learning more about conscious consumerism, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And without further ado, let's get right into it. So the first thing that I wanted to buy, but I decided not to, is the Everlane Way High Sailor Jeans. So a few months ago, I had this realization that wide leg pants work great for me. They balance out my proportions really well, and they're something that I actively wear all the time. Like, they make me feel good. I already own a looser pair of jeans that kind of gets the job done. It's my Levi's Low Pros, but I wanted something a little bit more structured and a little bit more dark wash, specifically for outfits that I wanted to elevate a little bit more. Like, my Low Pros are definitely more casual than what I need sometimes. So that's when I found these Everlane jeans, and I would be lying if I said they haven't been on my mind for literally months. Like, I think I was looking at them a couple times a week. But despite the temptation, there are a couple reasons why I am not going to be buying them. One of the main reasons is that I generally like to avoid buying things new firsthand, which is going to be a reason for, I think, all of the items on this list. I'm not completely opposed to buying new, but it's really important for me to exhaust all of the secondhand options that I have available. And honestly, I haven't done that yet for wide leg jeans. So I'm pretty confident that I would be able to find something similar at the thrift store. So that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm not buying them. Another reason is the price. So I'm fairly used to spending about $100 on jeans because I own mostly Levi's. They range around $100 or so. I haven't bought a new pair in years, but that was what I was used to spending when I was buying them new. But now that secondhand shopping has become such a priority for me, I look at $128 for some jeans and I'm just like, I can find that for a lot cheaper at the thrift store. I'm so confident that I can find some jeans at the thrift store that are the same quality, but a way less price if I just put in a little bit of effort. And effort is something that I am very, very much willing to put into any part of my wardrobe because it's really important for me to buy used. And when you secondhand shop, that often requires effort. And the other reason why I decided to pass on these jeans is actually the fabric composition. So I remember for the first few weeks when I was eyeballing them, I was like, they're perfect. I was like trying to justify it to myself. And then I was like, I need to look into this a little bit better. I have to do my due diligence. And I noticed that they contain 2% elastane. And listen, I am not a stretchy jean girl. I like 100% cotton. It molds to my body so well. Like, all of my Levi's are 100% cotton and they all fit me really well. So anytime I see elastane or just any other type of synthetic fabric in jeans, it's not for me. And honestly, if I'm going to spend $128, I want the materials to meet up to my standards. And that's just what my standards are. I'm not saying that that's everybody's standards. It's just what works for me. But I'm not about to drop that much money on something that isn't perfect. So pretty much after months of debating, and honestly, I still think about them because I do think they're really cute, I am not going to purchase them. And what I'm going to do instead is just keep an eye out at some secondhand stores for something similar. The next item that I was tempted to buy but decided not to is a Kyle James Patrick sweater. Now, just to be clear, I hear some people say Keel James Patrick, but I'm pretty sure it's Kyle. But regardless, we all know what I'm talking about. KJP. So Facebook hit me with an ad for these sweaters and I was like, oh no. I usually have pretty good self-control when I'm served an ad and I see something I like. Like, it's pretty easy for me to just scroll by because I know I don't really need it. But I thought these sweaters were so cute And so, of course, I clicked out of curiosity. And of course, I was shown a plethora of vintage style, just truly adorable sweaters. But the first thing that made me back off a little bit was the price. Again, I am so accustomed to secondhand shopping now that $150 for a sweater, I'm just like, I could get that for so much cheaper at the thrift store. And then I was thinking, okay, well, maybe I'll just add it to my wish list and maybe I'll keep an eye out for if it goes on sale or if it gets discounted. There wasn't one specific sweater that I had in mind, so I think my mind was a little bit more open to any of them. And I was like, well, if any of them go on sale, then I'll buy it. But then I noticed something that made me say, nope, absolutely not. And it was the fabric content. So a little bit similar to the Everlane jeans. These sweaters are priced around $150, give or take, but they are made with a wool synthetic blend. So acrylic or nylon is blended in with the wool. If I'm spending that much, I want something to be 100% wool. That is my fabric criteria. I'm a little bit picky, but I have no shame in it. I know what I like. I would also imagine that a blend like that would increase the chances of them being itchy. I don't know if that's actually true. I've never tried one. Frankly, I didn't look up any like TikToks or anything like that to see what people were saying, so I'm not really sure, but I have a sweater that has acrylic in it that I thrifted a few years ago, and that bad boy is itchy, okay? Like so itchy. So that's why I decided not to buy it. But the other thing I wanted to point out real quick, just because we all know that I'm a Shein/Temu hater, can we just talk about how Temu has just blatantly ripped off this brand? It is absolutely wild. Like, while I'm not completely sold on the price to value ratio of KJP, the brand doesn't deserve to be ripped off. How are they getting away with this? I don't get it. Temu is gonna Temu. Here we are. Let's move on to the next thing. The next thing that I wanted to buy, but I decided not to, is the book All Fours. Now, this isn't clothing, obviously, but I still feel like the process I went through was very relevant. If you're a reader, you've probably heard of this book. I feel like every single person is talking about it. All my friends have read it. They say they love it. So when I first heard about it, I immediately went on Libby, which, if you don't know, it's a free library app that lets you borrow ebooks free of charge as long as you have a library card. It is the best. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna put it on hold. Like, it'll probably just be a few weeks. I'm very used to waiting for books with Libby, but not as long as the All Fours book was. There was over 1,000 people waiting for this book. And I had this moment where I was like, should I just buy it? Which is very rare for me. I rarely ever buy ebooks. Sometimes I'll pre-order them, but even that's really rare. I've done that like maybe 3 times. And I'm really just not a fan of spending money on something that I can get for free at the library. Call me stingy, call me cheap. I like to think about it as frugal, but I just don't want to spend money on something that I can get for free. So in the end, I decided it wasn't worth buying it just to stay up to date with the hype. Like, everyone's talking about it. It's obviously going to die down at some point. But I just was like, I don't need to buy it right now just to stay like relevant. So this is where patience has really come into play for me. I've decided to put it on hold and wait it out. Plus, I have a mountain of other books on my Kindle that I have yet to read that I also felt the same way about at one point as I do about this book now. So now, at the time of me putting this video together, I was sitting at 404th in line. And honestly, I'm cool with that. I'm at this point where I'm like, I've waited this long, I can wait a little bit longer. So I think that this whole thing just kind of acted as a reminder for me to practice patience, which is something I would like to work more on, and I think that many of us should work on. And also to appreciate what I already have and use what I already have, which, you know, I felt the same about at one point. The next thing that I wanted to buy, but I decided to pass on, is a Sézanne belt. We all know how hyped Sézanne is, and while I've personally never owned anything from them, I cannot deny how cute their belts are. And I've been wanting a more unique belt for a while now. I feel like it would add just a little bit more visual interest to my outfits as opposed to my standard black belt with the gold buckle, which I very much love, but I wear it for everything, and I think having another option would be really great for me. Plus, my wardrobe is primarily neutrals with, you know, the occasional pop of like an earthy green or something. So as somebody who is actively trying to wear more color, I figured that it would be a really great option if I were to find some type of colorful belt. And I'm somebody who wears a belt probably 90% of the time that I'm wearing pants. I just love a belt so much. So to me, looking at the price of these belts, it did feel worth it. I was like, I know I would wear this so often. I could get the cost per wear down to be very, very low. So my next step after I was like, yep, I want one of these, is I started, of course, looking at secondhand options, which were much easier to look at online. So I was looking at, you know, Mercari, Depop, ThredUp, and I did find a couple that I really liked, which was great because of course they were secondhand and the prices were lower, which I was willing to pay full price for them, but you know, if you can save a few bucks here and there, why not? But after a couple of weeks of going through a handful of belts and essentially interviewing them and being like, all right, how well are we gonna work together? The excitement kind of faded and I was like, am I just buying Sézane to say that I own Sézane? Maybe. I don't know if that was actually the case, but just the fact that it popped in my head, I was like, am I buying this for the right reasons? So yes, I still would like a little bit more color in my wardrobe, but for now, I have a belt that gets the job done. And same thing with a lot of these other items that I've mentioned so far. I'm just gonna keep an eye out for a secondhand item, and I know that something good will come along. And the last item that I wanted to buy but decided not to for now are slingback heels. Now, I don't have a specific brand or a specific pair in mind. I just have the idea in my head, and I'm pretty sure where it came from is from watching Alyssa Beltempo, who I'm 99% sure it's her that has just a classic black slingback heel, and they go so well with everything. And just seeing how she styled them just implanted something in my brain where I was like, ooh, I could really use these. And I've been casually looking at some options. It's something that I'll search every few weeks just to see what pops up, if I can expand my research a little bit more. But the thing that I keep running into is the question of practicality. How often would I actually reach for a pair of slingback heels when I have mules and I have flats that would get a similar job done, and that frankly I might also be more comfortable in? So for now, I just haven't found all of the right reasons to justify buying them. However, I am predicting that this might potentially change within the new year because I have like 450 weddings to go to next year. And I'm gonna need some heels that are comfortable, that are dance friendly, and that are versatile enough to go with any single dress that I wear. So come spring, I think that what I'm gonna do is put in a little bit more effort to try to find some slingback heels that actually work well for me. So I can just have a nicer pair of heels on deck for things like weddings or nice dinners or bridal showers or whatever the case may be. Comfort is going to be key for me, so I can kind of see this being a lengthy process because I'm picky. I want to make sure things check every single box before I buy them. I will, of course, look for them at the thrift stores, but I think this might be a little too specific to find thrifting, like in my size. We'll see. I'll keep an eye out. But check back with me in like 6 months or so. Maybe I will have found the perfect pair that I can wear for years to come for things like weddings and any other fancy-ish events. Fingers crossed. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment down below. What is one item that you've been really itching to buy, but you've decided not to? And I would love to hear also why. Tell me about your thought process a little bit. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch. I'm so appreciative of your support, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.